Hi, Randy Orr with Berkshire Hathaway and the Orr Group. You know, if you look around Laguna Niguel, we have a very strong Mediterranean influence. Palm trees everywhere. Most of the homes are pink stucco, red tile roofs, but not everybody is looking for that. I'm going to take you on a community tour visiting 3 communities that look nothing like Laguna Niguel. Let's jump in my car and take a look. So we are at the corner of Niguel Road and Camino del Avion. I'm actually traveling on Camino del Avion, which is the border between Dana Point on my left and Laguna Niguel on my right. We're going to go to a community that is not very much like the rest of Laguna Niguel. This community was built in the 80s, and the majority of the build out for Laguna Niguel was late 80s. We started in 88. By 89, the boom was on. And during the boom, I think every builder thought that this area should look Mediterranean. Pink stucco, red tile roofs, and lots of palm trees. This community of Seacall is very different. The homes are very traditional. They use a lot of siding. I don't think there's a red tile roof in the entire community. The price range of this community is about 1.7 to about 2.4. I don't think anything has quite crested and gotten to 2.5. Some of the homes have some nice ocean views, and then others do not. The price per square foot is right around 600 to 650, maybe 700 for the tremendous ocean views. But the majority of the homes in this community do not have ocean views. Average sales price most recently is just under $2 million, and that's about $770 a foot. I'm going to take you to a home that recently closed. Let's take a look at a home on Wanigan. So we're on Wanigan, which is one of the streets in this community. We're going to go take a look at a home. It's actually a closed transaction, 23942, coming up right here. They got their garage door open, surfboards and everything going on. Let me turn around and we'll get a peek at that house. So the property on Wanigan did close escrow. The list price was $1,740,000 and it closed at $1,610,000. 2,624 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. We're going to go to one more home in this community on Caravel. It too sold for $1,600,000, was on the market for $1,750,000. It's 2,400 square feet. That's about $666 a square foot. And both of these homes were built in the middle 80s. This one in particular, 1987. And that's 23962 Caravel. So in my opinion, both of these homes in this community, although they're very nice homes, they probably started a little too high in price because one was on the market for 51 days, which is a little bit longer than average days on the market. And the other home was on the market for 98 days, but that explains the nearly $150,000 gap between list price and the actual selling price. They were both listed for about $1,750,000, $1,740,000, and they closed at pretty close to $1,600,000. Had they started closer to realistic price, they might have gotten more, because what happens in a home sale is the longer you're on the market, the more vulnerable you are to a price battle. And in this case, the buyers won, I think. So we are traveling away from Dana Point and at Camino del Avion Street that separates Laguna Niguel from Dana Point. We're on Golden Lantern. I'm going to make a right on St. Christopher and take you into a community that is, again, not typical construction, not the look that you would expect for Laguna Niguel. I'm trying to take you into three different neighborhoods that are all unique to a certain point. And the only common thread is that they just don't look like Laguna Niguel. No pink stucco, no red tile roofs. And we're entering this community of Summerwalk. The unique aspect of this community is that these are all zero lot line homes. Zero lot line means that you have access to just one side of your property, and the other side, if you will, would be a wall. So if you enter into the backyard, you can only wrap around to one side of your property, and those are known as zero lot line. And the reason for that is builders around this era got a little greedy, and they figured out if they could save 5 feet on one side of every home, by the time they got to the end of the street, they can build an extra home. So these homes were built in the very late 80s, around 1989. The first home we're going to take a look at is 24 Salt Spray. It's actually active and on the market now. I will actually be showing this home Thursday at 11 o'clock to a buyer of mine who's been watching for this neighborhood. But this home does not look anything like Laguna Niguel. Notice the siding on the exterior, no red tile roofs, a very different architecture from the majority of what Laguna Niguel looks like. This home's on the market for $1.8 million. It's priced at $787 a foot. It's 2,200 square feet and a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath floor plan. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's actually very nice on the inside as well. But this community, if you take a look at the homes right in front of us, that does not look like pink stucco and red tile roofs to me. So I'm gonna drive by one more property in this community. We're on a street called Oak Cliff. If I were to say what's the major street in this community, it would be this street. There are well over 100 homes in this community on this one street alone. We're gonna go to 15 Oak Cliff and take a look at this home. But you can see by all of the homes on this street that this is not a typical Mediterranean look that Laguna Niguel is most known for. So 15 Oak Cliff is this home, and this sold for $1,725,000. The asking price was $1,675,000. It actually sold for over asking price, sold in 3 days, so very quick, probably got multiple offers. 2,400 square feet, a little over $700 a foot, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. All of these streets are cul-de-sac streets. Once you enter into this community, there is no main street that acts as a thoroughfare. They're all cul-de-sacs. And I think this community does attract a lot of younger families with children. As we drove through the community, probably saw a lot of basketball hoops in the street, and there are a lot of kids in this neighborhood. Great neighborhood. I look forward to showing 24 Oak Cliff in a couple days here. So you can see that if Mediterranean is not your thing, don't discount moving to Laguna Niguel, because these are just two, and I'm going to take you to one more third, but there are many, many neighborhoods that are similar to this. All right, we are back on Niguel Road, again heading away from Dana Point, and we're going to go into a community that is one of the oldest communities in Laguna Niguel, known as Pace Setters. I'm making a right-hand turn on La Hermosa, which is it's a cul-de-sac street, so it's not a thoroughfare, but it is definitely a long street, and there are a lot of streets that intersect here. We're going to make a right on Los Serranos, and we're going to take a look at a property that did close escrow. But I want to take you through this community because this community is very different from the last two that we visited, and again, looking nothing like Laguna Niguel, although this was Laguna Niguel when these were built, because these were built in the mid-60s. These are the oldest homes, for the most part, in the entire city of Laguna Niguel. There are two tracts like this, two subdivisions. One is this one called Pace Setters, and the other is called Niguel Hills. Almost every home in this community is a single story, except for those that have been remodeled. And there has been a lot of remodeling that's gone on in the past 60 years, 65, 70 years. So many of the homes now have been redone and are 2 stories. There was a gentleman that lived in a luxury neighborhood in Laguna Niguel. His name is Fred. I knew him. And he moved out of that luxury community, and about 25 years ago bought pretty much what you would consider a teardown. And he bought it in this community, and he literally started the renovation phenomena in this community. Many of these homes now have been remodeled. So there's a mix of architecture. There's a tremendous mix of architecture. The original homes are single stories, for the most part look like they did, just refreshed a little bit, but there's not any pink stucco or red tile roofs to speak of in this community. These are all pretty traditional. Most people that have done the remodeling have stayed with the theme of the neighborhood. This was the first remodel of this neighborhood. This is the home that Fred did. This is the home that Fred built. And this was a small, single level, maybe 1,500 square foot home. This lot has a phenomenal view, and he bought this lot about 25 years ago. We bought the home on this lot 25 years ago, did this major remodel, and started a domino effect of all the homes that got remodeled on this street. There are still some originals or homes that look like they have an appearance of the original construction, and there's a few dotted throughout the community that are going to be in all original condition. There are a lot of what we call flippers. Well, we don't call them flippers. The common word, I guess, is flippers. But people, investors who buy old properties and renovate, this is a prime neighborhood for those buyers. They'll buy anything that's in terrible condition, renovate the property, and put it back on the market for a tremendous profit. They've done all the work. Homes usually come out pretty nice, especially if they know what they're doing. And so there's a great opportunity in this neighborhood to buy a wide spectrum of homes. Homes in this community range from about 1,300 square feet, pretty small, up to some larger floor plans, up to about 2,700 square feet, and most of those are the ones that have been remodeled. Almost every home in this community probably started somewhere between 1,300 square feet and 1,600 square feet, and then the ones that crest that square footage are the homes that have been redone. So this home here, 24545, recently sold for $1,630,000. It is the original footprint. This is what the homes looked like, not pushing out any of the square footage here. This home is 1,395 square feet on an 8,000 square foot lot. And again, sold for $1,630,000. And it's a good example of what opportunities are in this neighborhood of original look, no pink stucco, no red tile roofs. We'll take a look at one more home on this street to give you another example of homes that don't look anything like what you would imagine Laguna Niguel to look like. So we're looking at 24262 La Hermosa. The list price was $1,599,500. Sold for list price at $1,599,500. Sold in about a week, actually 11 days. 1,830 square feet. Sold for $874 per foot. Now, the original floor plan was a single level. This is an example of one of the homes that went up to a second story, and many of the homes in this community did. But again, most of the people that did the remodels stayed with the non-traditional, for Laguna Niguel, pink stucco red tile roofs. This is 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. This is about $100 a square foot, actually a little bit more, about $150 a square foot higher than the average dollar per square foot in Laguna Niguel, which demonstrates the desirability of this neighborhood. $874 a foot is on the high side. We're closer to between $750 for most homes in the area. Some of them, of course, are more. Many crest $1,000 per foot. Some are in the $600 square foot range. Throughout this community, there are many homes that have pools. My belief is in the mid-60s, it probably wasn't that expensive to put in a pool like it is today. And because there is no association in this community there are no association dues because there is no association. And because there was no association, nor clubhouse, nor tennis courts, no pools, people had to put in their own. A lot of people have put pools in the front courtyards and have fenced it off, so you'll see some of that in this community. But again, a community that looks nothing like Laguna Niguel. Well, I hope you enjoyed our tour today of communities that look nothing like the typical Laguna Niguel community. I'm actually now at the end of La Hermosa at a beautiful park, and you can see there's some beautiful views from this area, and the entire street of La Hermosa until you get down to the very, very bottom. All of these homes enjoy similar views. So it's quite a desirable neighborhood. I like working. I have sold homes in this neighborhood. If this neighborhood is of interest, or any of the communities that we visited today, or any properties in Laguna Niguel, I'd be honored to help you. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. It helps the channel, helps other people hear the same information that you do as well. Randy Orr with Berkshire Hathaway, changing lives one home at a time.